News and Rescue Command Center. This is Y News with Angelo Castro III, Jerry Alcantara, and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. The Philippine National Police has formally filed charges against the prime suspect in the Rojas night market bombing in Davao City. The charges include 60 counts of multiple murder, 15 counts of multiple frustrated murder, and violation of the Human Security Act of 2007. Police Senior Superintendent Michael John Lubria says the identity of the suspect is withheld while waiting for the procurement of the prosecution. The authorities were able to track the whereabouts of the suspects through the witnesses' accounts and the composite sketch provided. The leadership of the PNP Anti-Illegal Drugs Group gives a stern warning to celebrities using and selling illegal drugs. Leah Ilagan tells us why.
About 5 celebrities are included in the list of the PNP Anti-Illegal Drugs Group because they allegedly sell and use party drugs, particularly ecstasy. AIDG Director Police Senior Superintendent Albert Ferro says celebrities on the list are now under surveillance in order to get enough evidence. He further warns there will be no exemption.
Alam na namin po kayo at tukoy na kayo. Pag nagkaroon po ng ebidensya at pagkakataon, kayo po yung maaresto.
Ferro is encouraging these celebrities to surrender to the nearest police station.
Mag-surrender na lang po kayo sa lalong madaling panahon kesa maaresto pa kayo at malagay pa ang pangalan nyo sa kahihiyaan.
Some celebrities have started taking drug tests and have resorted to posting the result on their test online. But the PNP will still push through with their plans as there are no police officers present during their drug test. On August 11, Alvin Comerciante alias Bordado, who was believed to be the supplier of illegal drugs to celebrities, was killed in a drug operations conducted by AIDG in San Pedro, Laguna. The incident helped to further prove complaints against actors and actresses selling and using illegal drugs. Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue Camp Crame.
The Bureau of Customs has intensified its monitoring in post offices and ports across the country. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
The Bureau of Customs or BOC intercepted millions worth of illegal drugs several weeks ago. First were 2,000 pieces of ecstasy tablets at the Central Mail Exchange Center last August 22. Weeks after, 2.4 kilograms of cocaine was seized at the Clark International Airport. And just recently, the BOC intercepted 7.5 million peso worth of illegal drugs. This time confiscated were 5,000 pieces of ecstasy pills found from 5 parcels that came from the Netherlands. Also found from the parcels was an undetermined amount of amphetamine, a nervous system stimulant. Under the law, amphetamine is considered a dangerous drug. Hence, its importation requires approval of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency.
Actually, pwede pang gawin ito in other form, in any form pa ng party drugs. In a way, pwede siyang encapsulate together with another substance, tapos yun ang i-distribute.
Customs Commissioner Nicanor Faeldon says the recent and continuous confiscation of narcotics only proves the rampant illegal drug problem in the country. This has also prompted the BOC to intensify its monitoring of all post offices and ports across the country.
Kasama yan sa mandato namin, the border security of the country, is stopping any prohibited commodities from coming in.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Bureau of Customs.
3 men were shot dead in Sitio San Roque, Barangay Pag-asa, while the Quezon City Police District was conducting the Oplan Tokhang. Juan Hocson will tell us why.
3 men were killed while the members of the Quezon City Police District was conducting Oplan Tokhang in Sitio San Roque, Barangay Pag-asa, Quezon City. Killed on the spot were Alex Bacura alias Dats and 2 men known only as alias Messi and Kamal. The QCPD says they were escorted by the barangay officials when they knocked on the door of the house of the suspects. The suspects unexpectedly fired at the members of the QCPD. In defense, the members of the QCPD fired back and killed the 3 suspects inside their house. Recovered in the scene were 2 guns and 2 hand grenades. The Explosive and Ordnance Disposal Unit of the PNP immediately inspected the explosive device to ensure that the place is safe. The SOCO also inspected the scene before bringing the bodies to the funeral. According to Police Superintendent Igmedio Bernaldez, the suspects killed were confirmed drug pushers, as proven by the recovered weighing apparatus and illegal drugs in the scene. More than 50 names were on the list of the QCPD in Sitio San Roque, Barangay Pag-asa. 30 members of the QCPD were deployed in the area to conduct Oplan Tokhang. Mon Hocson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
House Minority Floor Leader Danilo Suarez confirms that one of the 2 charged congressmen has willingly accepted the suspension order issued by the Sandigan Bayan. Grace Casin will tell us why.
House Minority Floor Leader Danilo Suarez reports that one of the congressmen who were ordered for suspension by the Graph Court has already received the order without any resistance.
Yung isa nag-volunteer na para ma-serve yung interest ng House, hindi na masyadong maging issue, pumapayag na siya. Yung suspension.
Suarez says the lawmaker just accepted his suspension because he didn't want to cause rift between the House and the court. According to the Constitution, only lower house has the authority to suspend its members. Subsequently, House Majority Leader Rudy Fariñas argues that the Committee on Rules still has to deliberate the said suspension order. But still, they respect the authority of the Supreme Court, who said whosoever violates the Republic Act 3019 or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act must be suspended.
The Supreme Court says also na no, because this is Republic Act 3019, the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act makes it mandatory once the information is determined valid na any public officer facing an Anti-Graft Corrupt Practices Act case should be placed on preventive suspension naman.
Congressman Amado Espino Jr., one of the 2 aforementioned congressmen, is facing charges in the Sandigan Bayan for allegedly allowing the operation of illegal black sand mining in Pangasinan during his term as governor. The other congressman, El Rey Villafuerte Jr., is facing graft charges for purchasing 20 million pesos worth of petroleum products without proper bidding. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
Former President Benigno Aquino III and former Department of Finance Secretary Purisima are facing charges at the Court of Appeals. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
A graft, corruption, and smuggling complaint was filed by former Bureau of Customs Commissioner Napoleon Morales and former Customs District Collector Attorney Juan Tan against former President Benigno Aquino III. Also part of the complaint was former Department of Finance Secretary Cesar Purisima and some officials of the Bureau of Customs and Pilipinas Shell Petroleum Corporation. Based on the complaint, the said officials neglected and failed to collect the 100 billion peso tax from Shell. The complaint stemmed in 2004 when Shell started not to pay taxes on imported gasoline products in Batangas port. Shell said the blending component or chemical used in making gasoline is not subject to taxes. But the custom officials found out that instead of gasoline, Shell declared imported chemicals as catalytic cracked gasoline, light catalytic cracked gasoline, and alkylate to avoid paying taxes. Tan says this is contrary to what Shell has been doing since 2001 up to 2004 when they paid taxes on imported gasoline and chemicals. Tan clarifies that there is no order from the customs that blending components are exempted on the excise tax. In over 6 years, the uncollected taxes ballooned to 100 billion pesos.
Pera ng gobyerno yon, dapat nasa National Treasury yan. For more than 6 years, ang pera nandun pa sa Shell. Ginagamit nila yung pera.
The case has reached the Court of Tax Appeals but has not been resolved. The petitioners also sent a letter to then Secretary Purisima and President Aquino, but the said officials ignored the letter.
Wala naman sila ginawa to get the money. Ang pera, iwan lang doon. Ang sinagot lang ni Secretary Purisima kay Des Aklan, sabi niya, the matter is still with the level of the district collector. So ibig sabihin, wala silang interest kunin yung pera.
Shell Corporation and the camp of former President Aquino refused to give a statement and said that they will study the complaint first. Joyce Balancio, UNTV News and Rescue, Bureau of Customs.
The private complainant in PDAP scam cases, lawyer Levito Baligod, believes that under the past administration, there was selective prosecution of those involved in the anomalous disbursements of legislators' pork barrel. Roderick Mendoza tells us why.
Lawyer Levito Baligod is just waiting for an invitation from Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre about the plan to reinvestigate the anomalies in the pork barrel funds. Baligod is the private complainant in PDAP scam cases and was a lawyer for Ben-Hur Louie and other whistleblowers.
Kung iimbitahan niya tayo, papantayan natin ang sigasig ng Department of Justice para mabigyan natin ng tuldok ang usaping PDAP scam. Siguro, the new secretary wants to get his bearing on the PDAP scam issue, which probably to his mind, I can help him get the bearing na kailangan niya.
Like Secretary Aguirre, Baligod also believes the past administration selected who to charge in relation to the scam.
Maraming rason. Maaaring sa politika, maaaring kaalyado nila, maaaring kaibigan nila. Marami pong rason, pero ang isang maliwanag na katotohanan na hinaharap natin ay yung hindi lahat ng sangkot ay kinasuhan.
To date, only 3 senators and 25 congressmen were indicted. But according to Baligod, of those who channeled their PDAP to the NGOs of Janet Napoles alone, at least 14 senators and 100 congressmen should be charged. This does not include legislators who transacted with other NGOs.
Kung ibabase natin yung sa mga available na dokumento, baka aabot yan ng halos 20 na senador at 200 na congressmen.
Baligod adds, the past administration also did not investigate more than 70 NGOs which are also involved in the fund mess. He also believes the documents collated by DOJ are enough to prosecute everyone implicated in the PDAP scam. However, he would defer to the present administration how it will go about the plan to reinvestigate the issue. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Next in Y News. The Commission on Elections is expecting longer preparations for the barangay polls once the postponement bill is finally enacted.
And the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines assures fewer flight diversions at the NAIA starting next month.
Y News, we'll be right back. Motorists are experiencing moderate to heavy traffic along major roads of Metro Manila. Joan Nano is in Araneta Avenue to tell us why. Live. Yes, Joanne.
Good evening, Jago. We are now right here in Araneta Avenue to know the latest traffic situation. And since it's rush hour, lots of vehicles are on the roads right now, so our motorists should expect moderate to heavy traffic as of this moment. Let's take a look at the situation here in Araneta Avenue for those vehicles passing along the westbound area. For those who are going to España, will experience moderate to heavy traffic as of now. While for those motorists and commuters here in the eastbound area, for those who are going to EDSA Quezon Avenue, or for those who are traversing going to Commonwealth, as of this moment, they are experiencing light to moderate traffic. Let's take a look at some of our live points in EDSA Balintawak. For those vehicles passing along the southbound area, if you are going to Muñoz, travelers will experience light traffic. But for those who are in the EDSA northbound going to Monumento, will experience moderate traffic. Let's proceed in Sucat Road, Parañaque. The vehicles that we are seeing right now on your television screen, for those who are going to Sucat Highway, motorists and commuters will experience slow movement of vehicles, while on the opposite side of the road, for those who are going to NAIA Terminal 1, moderate traffic is being experienced by the motorists as of this moment. Meanwhile, in Baclaran Ross Boulevard, travelers passing along Ross Boulevard, if you are going to Manila area, currently light to moderate traffic is being experienced, while for those who are going to coastal Baclaran, will experience moderate to heavy traffic. And lastly, in EDSA Guadalupe, for those vehicles coming from Orense going to Ayala Makati, will experience heavy traffic. Same traffic situation will be felt on the opposite side of the road for those who are coming from Guadalupe going to Shaw Boulevard. Once again, Chago, we would like to remind all the motorists out there that since tomorrow is Thursday, a number coding scheme is still being implemented. All vehicles with plate numbers ending in 7 and 8 is strictly prohibited in all major roads within Metro Manila from 7 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock in the evening. And that was the latest traffic update. Back to you, Chago.
Thank you for that report. Joanne Nano reporting live from Araneta Avenue. The Commission on Elections sees the decision of Congress to postpone the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataang elections as a welcome development. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
The Commission on Elections is expecting longer preparations for the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. That is if a bill pushing for the said postponement becomes a law. Yesterday, both houses of Congress passed in the third and final reading the bill that reschedules the Barangay and SK polls to next year.
Well, welcome development naman yung pagpapasa on third reading yung batas para nga sa pagpapaliban ng ating barangay at SK elections. Ito ay magbibigay ng karagdagang panahon sa COMELEC para sa aming paghahanda.
COMELEC says it will set another voters registration for those who failed to register during the 2016 national elections should the bill becomes a law. It has already advised its field offices regarding the said plan.
Meron kaming draft na calendar, election calendar na ipinakita kahapon during our en-banc meeting, pero nga hindi pa natin pwedeng ilabas yan hanggang hindi pa nalalagdaan yung batas. No?
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue Commission on Elections.
The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines assures that there will be fewer flight diversions at NAIA starting next month. Joanna will tell us why.
July 2015, the Instrument Landing System or ILS at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport or NAIA was damaged as it was hit by lightning. This prompted several airline companies to divert their flights from NAIA to the Clark International Airport in Pampanga, especially during bad weather conditions. The Civil Aviation Authority or CAAP says starting next month, NAIA will finally have a replacement for the damaged ILS. The new ILS worth $70 million or 3 billion pesos is expected to arrive in October. The ILS is an instrument used by pilots at airports to ensure the safe landing of airplanes on runways.
Yung ILS, I'm talking about it, is because of weather. Weather. Kasi bumababa yung visibility natin ng mga, sometimes mga 3 kilometers, 2 kilometers, or even less. So what does that mean? Pagdating ng eroplano sa kanyang minimum decision altitude, which is 375 feet, hindi niya nakikita yung runway, ang option niya lang is to make a missed approach. Ibig sabihin mag-go around yan. It will discontinue the approach.
CAAP says once the damaged ILS is fixed, passengers could expect fewer diverted flights. CAAP adds it could also help ease traffic congestion at NAIA. Meanwhile, a senator questioned during a Senate hearing earlier why a condominium was built near the airport. Senator J.V. Ejercito says pilots have no choice but to increase its minimum decision altitude from 300 feet to 900 feet because of the Cypress Tower condominium obstructing their way up. But CAAP says the condominium poses no risk to airline passengers.
Nung nasira ang ILS, itinaas yung minimum decision altitude. Nandun yung, sabi nga ng mga piloto na nakakausap ko, nakikiliti sila doon pag nakikita nila kasi talagang it's sticking out Although wala siya sa flight path, pero konting-konti nakapataw siya sa flight path.
I just want to assure the riding public that safe yung approach natin even if it's a non-precision approach.
John Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
The Department of Agrarian Reform has drafted an executive order that aims to temporarily halt agri-land conversions. Nel Maribohok will tell us why.
The Department of Agrarian Reform wants to strictly monitor the distributed agri-lands in the country through an executive order pending approval of President Rodrigo Duterte.
So draft executive order, magkikreate po ng task force na kaagad ay mag-a-assess po ng status ng land use conversion sa ating bansa.
The EO aims to temporarily suspend the applications for land conversions of agri-land into subdivisions or for commercial purposes. This in connection with the policy of the Administration on Food Security.
Pag-i-impose muna po ng 2 taong moratorium on conversion of agricultural lands.
The agency is also reviewing the contracts of agribusiness to ensure that farmers' rights are secured. The DAR measures are in accordance with President Duterte's policy on distribution of agri-lands for agrarian reform beneficiaries and additional assistance from the government. During the Presidential Agrarian Reform Council meeting on Monday, President Duterte reiterated his directive on the quick distribution of COCO levy funds for the farmers. According to DAR's data, 4.7 million hectares have already been distributed under the agrarian reform. More than 600,000 hectares are still left for distribution. Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Senator Joel Villanueva is urging the Senate to pass bills that seek to solve job skills mismatch in the country. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
Despite the decrease in the recorded unemployment rate in the country this year, fact still remains that there are still many Filipinos who are jobless. Senator Joel Villanueva attributes this to the mismatch in the training and education and qualifications demanded by employers. In his privileged speech, Senator Villanueva highlights manufacturing, electronics, and semiconductor as the biggest sectors where job skills mismatch is commonly experienced. Records show that there has been a rising youth unemployment rate in the country, and most fresh graduates struggle to get employed. For these reasons, Senator Villanueva filed a resolution urging the Senate Committee on Labor, Employment and Human Resources Development and other related committees to review and inquire in aid of legislation the problem of job skills mismatch. He also filed a bill which aims to provide enterprise-based education and training.
Bagamat marami na po tayong programa at mga batas na tumutugon dito, tila kulang pa rin o marami pa rin pong kailangan pagtuunan ng pansin. Malaki po ang magagawa natin, lalo na dito sa Senado, para tugunan ang problema ng job skills mismatch sa bansa.
Villanueva also proposes to develop the Information System Strategic Plan or ISSP, where interested businessmen can check online the availability of skilled workers in a particular area. Conversely, job seekers can see through the system the vacant positions in a certain company or business. For his part, Senator Miguel Zubiri says the government should speed up its infrastructure programs so that many jobs will be created. Zubiri adds that government should also avoid underspending and should use all its intended funds for infrastructure programs. Joyce Balancho, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
The Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, is bringing its skills and training programs closer to communities. Robbie De Guzman will tell us why.
In line with the President Rodrigo Duterte's goal of expanding the government's education programs down to the poorest barangays nationwide, the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, is promoting the program Barangay Kasanayan para sa Kabuhayan at Kapayapaan. The program aims to bring the agency's skills and training to more than 42,000 barangays in the country. To fund the program, the agency has proposed around 50 to 60 billion pesos for the year 2017.
Kaya nga doon sa skills mapping na ginawa, kailangan mayroong pagbasihan para kung sakaling ipresenta sa budget sa susunod na 2018 ay may pagbabasihan.
Padilla says each barangay needs a minimum budget of 4.2 million pesos for the program. The director is pleased that the machineries in the provinces, such as that in Cordillera region, are all operational. The facilities are beneficial for the students' simulation of actual job operations. One of the instructors was a participant at the ASEAN Skills Competition in 2014 and even won a Medallion of Excellence. He has proven that TESDA scholars are capable of winning international competitions.
Napaka-importante ang facilities natin dito kasi without the facilities, complete facilities, hindi natin maibibigay yung tamang skill, knowledge at saka good attitude sa ating student.
Robbie De Guzman, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Department of Health will launch the Duterte Health Agenda tomorrow at the National Health Summit. Yoshi Kusata will tell us why.
The Department of Health revealed today that the Duterte Health Agenda will be officially launched during the National Health Summit 2016 in Pasay City tomorrow. DOH gave a sneak peek of the agenda, which is set to provide mandatory basic medical checkup to 20 million poorest Filipinos within 100 days.
That will be launched tomorrow, and we hope by December 25 we can announce to all of you that we have attained that goal of providing a basic check-up to the 20 million poorest Filipinos.
DOH Secretary Pauline Jean Rosel Ubial added that one of the agenda's goals is preventing deaths due to emerging health threats like the Zika virus. DOH has confirmed 3 cases of Zika virus in Iloilo City since September 5 this year. Meanwhile, the National Health Summit, with the theme Strengthening Partnerships to Achieve All for Health Towards Health for All, aims to secure local and national support for the implementation of the Duterte Health Agenda. Chairperson of the Senate Commission on Health and Demography, Senator Risa Ontiveros expressed her enthusiasm about the DOH National Health Summit. She says it is an opportunity for the government to elaborate its health policy framework.
I have high hopes that the summit will enable the government to live up to its mandate to provide universal health care for the people.
Yoshi Kusata, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
A 10-year-old boy whose parents sought the help of UNTV Action Center no longer worries about the growing moles on his neck, a condition called epidermal nevus. Jun Suriao tells us why.
Well po kasi, nagko-complain na siya tungkol sa epidermal nevus niya. Na ang epidermal nevus, it's a normal mole naman po, hindi naman siya delikado. Pero po kasi sa klase or sa school nila, na nahahalata na po na ibang tao at tinatanong siya kung ano yun.
10-year-old Joel Asturias had been concerned about the growing and multiplying moles on his neck. Because of this, his mother sought the help of the UNTV Action Center. Dr. Casey Reyes, one of the hosts of UNTV's Doctors on TV, was the one who checked Joel's condition. Dr. Casey explained that the epidermal nevus, or a bulging mole, is normally seen in children, especially in babies. As the child grows, the moles grow abnormally, making it more noticeable. After being examined, Joel underwent shave biopsy and cauterization until the mole on his neck that he was complaining about was completely removed.
Give him topical calcipotriol, which will decrease the warty appearance of the epidermal nevus. Pero po kasi sa kanya, medyo mas malaki na po yung lesion. So ang sinasuggest po namin is we do shave biopsy para po mabiopsy din po natin yung lesion para ma-rule out any malignancy. And then after biopsy, pwede na po natin siyang i-cautery para po mawala yung mga natitirang lesion.
Jun Suriao for Serbisyong Kasangbahay.
Coming up, Super Typhoon Meranti batters southern and coastal areas of Taiwan.
And the HOR Solent steps up its game in UNTV Cup Season 5.
More from Y News after this break. Typhoon Ferdy exited the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR at past noon today. It made landfall in Itbayat, Batanes early morning and devastated the area of extreme northern Luzon and nearby provinces. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration or PAGASA says that as of 4 p.m. today, it located Ferdy at 400 kilometers northwest of Basco, Batanes and heading towards China. Small sea vessels and sea crafts are advised not to venture in the northern and western seaboard of northern Luzon due to high waves. Meanwhile, Typhoon Hener is still traversing the East Philippine Sea. It was located at 1,035 kilometers east of Casiguran, Aurora, packed with maximum sustained winds of 130 kilometers per hour and gustiness of 160 kilometers per hour. It moves northwest at 25 kilometers per hour. Hener is expected to intensify the southwest monsoon that may bring rains in the country, especially on Friday. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council reports that the northern part of Batanes is the most affected by Typhoon Ferdy. Brian De Paz will tell us why.
The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council or NDRRMC is closely monitoring the effects of Typhoon Ferdy in the northwest of Basco, Batanes. Said areas are reported to have been most affected by the typhoon, with communication breaking down in the northern part of Batanes. NDRRMC is still on blue alert, while the regional councils are on red alert status. They can only contact some municipal offices via radio.
Sa kasalukuyan, medyo nagkakaroon tayo ng challenge sa ating komunikasyon sa probinsya ng Batanes.
A rapid damage assessment and needs analysis team and rapid telecommunications team have been formed to monitor and assess the area in Batanes.
Tayo naman po ay zero casualty at samahan niyo po kami sa pagdarasal na sana po hanggang sa matapos po ang epekto ng bagyong Ferdy ay makamit po natin ang zero casualty.
Brian De Paz, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
Taiwanese authorities conduct evacuation in southern Taiwan. Amiel Pascual is in Taiwan to tell us why live. Yes, Amiel.
Yes, Diego, based on reports from the Taiwan Central Emergency Operating Center, around 5,000 people have been evacuated from the affected areas. As of this afternoon, a super typhoon Meranti begins barreling the southern part of Taiwan. The super typhoon is packed with winds and speeds up to 230 kilometers per hour and brings torrential rains. Schools and offices across the south of the island have closed. As of this hour, more than 600,000 households have already lost power in counties across southern Taiwan. More than 400 domestic and international flights have been canceled. The train services have also been suspended. Almost 4,000 military and police personnel have been deployed to the region to prepare for potential evacuations, although authorities are not expecting major damage or destruction. Meanwhile, Chief Secretary of the Central Emergency Operations Center, Wei Senli, confirms that so far they have not recorded any casualty yet due to the typhoon.
Because the typhoon is moving towards China, we don't expect major casualties later. I think most of the situation is under control. However, the interruption of the lifeline services could still rise because outside the wind is still very strong, and we still have some case report about torrential rain. Some floods, the power outage could be reported.
On the other hand, Attorney Mario Molina, the director of Manila Economic and Cultural Office in Kaohsiung, assures that they have issued an early warning advisory to Filipinos in the affected areas and will continue to monitor their safety. Diego, based on reports, the waves in the coastal line peak above 1 story high and peak gusts reach above 17th levels, so residents along the coastlines are advised to evacuate. Super Typhoon Meranti is the strongest typhoon to have hit the area in 21 years, and it is estimated to affect the Taiwan region until Thursday. Back to you, Diego.
Thank you for that report. Amiel Pascual reporting live from Taiwan.
DIL's President Michel Temer suggests privatization to ministers amid their flailing economy. Meanwhile, in America, U.S. President Barack Obama goes after Donald Trump in behalf of Hillary Clinton. March Navarro will tell us why.
In America, with Hillary Clinton sidelined by pneumonia, U.S. President Barack Obama took up the Democrats' fight against Donald Trump, trying to quash the Republican presidential candidate's bid to appeal to working-class voters. Obama, whose 50% job approval rating could help improve the climate for the Democratic ticket in the November 8 election, rallied party faithful against Trump to ensure Democrats retain control of the White House once his 8 years are over in January.
What we've seen from the other side in this election, this isn't Abraham Lincoln's Republican Party. This isn't even the vision of freedom that Ronald Reagan talked about. This is a dark, pessimistic vision of a country where we turn against each other.
And in Brazil on Tuesday launched a multi-billion-dollar plan to auction off oil, power rights, and infrastructure concessions in an attempt to bolster private investment and save its economy. The government will sell operating licenses for airports in the cities of Porto Alegre, Salvador, Florianopolis, and Fortaleza by the first quarter of 2017, which also aim to boost jobs and growth.
Deste programa de parcerias de investimentos naturalmente visa, em primeiro lugar, o crescimento econômico do país, mas como consequência natural, exatamente a abertura de empregos, porque do instante que nós tivemos.
The program includes the concession of railway projects that have already been built, as well as the long-delayed auction of rights in oil fields and hydroelectric plants in the first and second half of 2017. Marge Navarro, UNTV News and Rescue.
The French government announces that it intends to raise its contribution to a plan to promote France as a tourist destination. June Garin will tell us why.
France's tourism sector represents about 8% of its gross domestic product and employs about 2 million people. But the series of Islamist attacks has impacted the country's tourism sector. Thus, Foreign Minister Jean-Marc Ayrault, who oversees the tourism portfolio, made the announcement of new funding to 10 million euros to mitigate the losses and save the industry.
Il ne faut pas nier qu'une partie de la clientèle internationale a diminué, en particulier à Paris, dans l'Île-de-France.
Those working in the sector say they see every day that the number of tourists' flight and hotel bookings to Paris has declined sharply. At the iconic Eiffel Tower, visitors appeared scarce for the first time of year despite security gates and installed around the monument.
Pues que muchas veces los medios de comunicación son más alarmantes, pero en realidad la ciudad es muy segura.
Well, I think it could happen any place, but my feeling was off. It happened to me. I'd rather be home.
Last month, local officials called for a rescue plan for the sector, saying the recent attacks had cost the French capital about 750 million euros in revenue. Deployed armed troops and extra police forces around the capital to ensure the safety of tourists. June Garin, UNTV News and Rescue, Paris, France.
A Formula E car takes a spin on the Arctic. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
Climate change is one of the issues facing and being trying to resolve by the international community. In a bid to further raise climate change awareness, Brazilian FIA Formula E driver Lucas Di Grassi brought his electric racing car on the ice sheet to take a spin in the Arctic Circle.
Formula E wants to raise awareness of electric cars as one of the ways to fight climate change. And we thought the most visual effective connection between those two concepts, electric cars and climate change, was to bring one race car here to the Arctic, to the ice cap.
Formula E believes that using electric cars can help in the global issue of climate change, particularly the reducing ice caps in the Arctic.
Because, as a matter of fact, if all cars in the world were electric, these icebergs would be bigger, this ice cap would be bigger. So that's why we're here with a race car in the Arctic.
Based on the National Snow and Ice Data Center or NSIDC website, throughout August this year, the average ice loss rate is 75,000 square kilometers per day compared to the long-term 1981 to 2010 average of 57,300 square kilometers per day. Total ice extent loss in August was 2.34 million square kilometers. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue.
The World Anti-Doping Agency warns of more leaks on medical records of athletes. Jovic Bermas tells us why.
Confidential medical data on athletes in last month's Rio Olympics has been hacked and published by a Russian cyber espionage group, the World Anti-Doping Agency or WADA, revealed on Tuesday, September 13. Thus, the agency warns of more such leaks to follow. WADA identified the group as Star Team, or APT28, also known as Fancy Bear. The www.fancybear.net website said it had information about a number of U.S. athletes, including tennis sisters Serena and Venus Williams, as well as multiple gold medal winning gymnast Simone Biles. Issues of possible Russian government or Secret Service participation in the hacking was unlikely, according to a Russian government official. Russia's track and field team and other Russian competitors were banned from the Rio Games in over a state-backed doping program. The International Olympic Committee, U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, International Tennis Federation, and USA Gymnastics all issued strong statements on Tuesday condemning the publication of confidential WADA information. WADA said the group was believed to have gained access to its anti-doping administration and management system. Jovic Bermas, UNTV News and Rescue, Europe.
The Rio Paralympic Games were once again filled with record breakers. Meanwhile, new world number 1 Angelique Kerber is proud of her new achievement in the world ranking. James Buntuyan tells us why.
Newly hailed world number 1 Angelique Kerber says she is proud to be the first German woman on the top spot of the world ranking since Steffi Graf. Kerber clinched the US Open for a second Grand Slam this year after beating Karolina Pliskova with a 6-3, 4-6, 6-4 triumph after falling a break down in the third set.
You know, for me, Serena is one of the best players in the world, and I mean, she won so many Grand Slams, and she is really one of the strongest opponents for me. I'm really proud to be the next German number 1 player in the world after Steffi, and to winning Grand Slams as well.
Meanwhile, as the Rio Paralympics enter day 5, Ukraine grabbed double gold in fencing in the men's individual saber. Anton Datsko defeated Greek Panagiotis Trantifilou 15-7 in category B, while his training partner and best friend Andriy Demchuk secured an equally decisive victory over Hungary's Richard Osvath to win the category A competition. A new world record is now in the hands of British Sasha Kinred as he finishes his swimming career with a gold in the men's 200 meters individual medley. This is his 13th gold overall from 6 Paralympic Games. Another world record breaker, Poland's Maciej Lepiano, shattered his own high jump world record by a centimeter to win gold in the T44 class. James Bontuyan, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
Congressmen playing for HOR Solons are pumped up for an exciting game at the UNTV Cup Season 5. Bernard Dadis tells us why.
Pasa kay Adriano, nasa gitna, Billones drives. Ganda naman.
The HOR Solons overpowered the DOJ Justice Boosters in their first match on the UNTV Cup hardcourt, ending the game with a big lead, 96-78. Solon's shooting guard Kiko Adriano was hailed as the best player of the game for piling up 28 points, grabbing 11 rebounds and dropping 1 dime. Aside from Adriano, 5 congressmen led the HOR team for the win. According to them, they are happy to be part of the League of Public Servants and are ready for any challenges on the hard court.
Napakasaya. Tulad na sabi ko nga nung opening, iba na ngayon ang House of Representatives. Kami na talaga yung nalaban, hindi tulad ng mga nagdaang season na lagi kami nang umulelat.
Owner of PBA's Global Port Team and Solon's team manager, Congressman Mike Romero, says playing for the UNTV Cup is a unique and delightful experience.
Masarap ang feeling kasi mas masarap pa yata dito kaysa sa PBA. Very motivational. Siguro hindi lang sa amin, pati sa iba-ibang agency ng gobyerno.
On the other hand, Secretary General Cesar Pareja can't explain the feeling of playing for the first time in the league. He is back in the ball game after being injured for 2 years, and winning in their first game is a plus.
First game ko ngayon, first season. Nanalo pa kami. Thank you, thank God. Kaya nga masaya lalo dahil hindi pa regular yung practice namin dahil mahigpit ang trabaho namin sa Kongreso. Pero kaya doble yung saya namin na nananalo pa rin.
Even Congressman Scott Davis Laniete of the 3rd District of Masbate enjoys playing despite his busy schedule.
Masaya ng liga ngayon and makita talaga yung camaraderie. And what's more, yung tao, yung fans talaga ang saya na kapagbigay ng espiritu kumbaga.
Holding the steering wheel for the team is former PBA player head coach Pido Harencio. He is confident that his team will continue to win because of the group's enthusiasm and love for the game and for public service.
Believe nga ako doon sa mga congressman led by Congressman Mikey. Talagang they take time na para yun nga maka-join, makalaro. No, ang hirap ng schedule nila Number one is masaya. No, masaya. Papasalamat ako sa UNTV.
Truly, the HOR Solons are proving that they are the team to watch out for this season. Bernard Dadis reporting for UNTV Cup Season 5.
Archaeologists find remains of dogs and humans which may help them understand the roles of dogs in pre-Columbian Peru. Nina Armilio tells us why.
Archaeologists uncovered the remains of 10 dogs, together with 2 guinea pigs and a human, estimated to be about 1,000 years old, in the midst of Peru's bustling capital in the Parque de las Leyendas Zoo in the San Miguel district. The discovery was found inside 2 small trenches in the pre-Incan Huacal Rizal Temple in the zoo's international zone. The remains belong to the pre-Incan culture of Ishma, dating back to between 900 and 1470 AC. The archaeologists found both male and female dogs, each entombed in a sleeping position. Each dog had a leash around its neck and both sets of its legs were tied.
Estos entierros están colocados como si estuvieran durmiendo, ¿no? Directamente sobre las piedras, sobre este relleno, directamente y están amarrados las patitas anteriores y posteriores y también el cuello. En muchos de ellos llevan la soga alrededor del cuello, ¿no? Entonces, esa es la forma como se la ha encontrado, ¿no? Como si estuvieran durmiendo. Entonces, pensamos que es parte de un sacrificio.
Between 2012 and 2013, the remains of 138 dogs and 134 humans were located. The American Association for the Advancement of Science journal claims the finding may help archaeologists understand the roles of dogs in pre-Columbian Peru, including their potentially important role as sacrificial victims. The newly discovered remains will be presented to the general public at the Zoo Middendorf Museum. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Those are the reasons behind the news. September 14, 2016. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Jerry Alcantara.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching Y News.